Hi everybody, it's Dave Brown with Certified Flourishing Coaching. Thanks for tuning into this video. I want to spend some time talking about different assumptions over the years in terms of working with people that have actually wrecked their dreams and have kept them poor. Now, why are we even talking about this? Well, number one, because we believe that the dreams in your life deserve to bud and blossom and to soar. But number two, I'll tell you what, if you are wrestling with nothing, if you're wrestling in a place of poverty, what that actually does is limit your ability to be able to help and bless and give abundance to others. And so in my life, I grew up in a place of poverty. I knew one thing, poverty is horrible. But the second thing I knew is that the more impoverished I was, the less I was able to give to others. And I am so grateful that my wife and I, we've been able to create this incredible life where we're able to be so generous and so helpful to so many. Why? Because there's an abundance within our life. And so what are some assumptions that keep you poor? Well, here's an assumption that, at least for me in my life, kept me poor. And that is that delayed gratification is not required. Now, I'm gonna try to explain that, okay? Delayed gratification is not required. That was the assumption that I had. Now, when you grow up in a place of poverty, what happens to you is because you don't have a lot, every time you get something, you gobble it up as fast as you can, right? So I remember like every so often when somebody would give me a chocolate bar or somebody would give me a new t-shirt, I would wear that t-shirt like every single day. I'd gobble that chocolate bar up as soon as I got it. Why? Because I never knew when I was gonna get another one. Now, you might say, well, what's the big deal about that? The problem is when I actually started making money, what ended up happening is I would spend my money right away rather than save it. I would spend my money rather than invest it. I would spend my money rather than putting it into something that could generate a return for me later downstream. And the challenge with that is that then I was literally burning through everything that I made as quickly as I made it. So there were several principles that changed my life. One principle that changed my life was that you would need to pay now so that you could play later. Now, I just want to explain that for a moment. The reality in life is that every single one of us is going to pay. In order to achieve your dreams, you're gonna have to pay, right? You're gonna have to pay with your time, you're gonna have to pay with your resources, you're gonna have to pay with your brain power, you're gonna have to pay in the area of relationships, you're gonna have to pay in all kinds of ways. But you know, here's the problem with the idea that instant gratification is the only way to go. You never wanna pay. And the problem with that is the self-help industry actually tells you you can have it all, but that's a lie. You can't have it all. Why can't you have it all? Because if you have it all, then I don't get anything. You know what I'm saying? And if I got it all, then you don't get anything. So the problem with this idea of you can have it all is I think what it does, it keeps us all very selfish. I think it keeps us all very siloed. I think it keeps us all very all about us. I never tell people you can have it all because that's just not realistic. But what I tell people is you can have a heck of a lot if you're willing to sit down and to set some priorities. And when it comes to prioritization, what does that mean? That means that I'm gonna have to pay some prices at certain points, but I can actually choose when I pay. You know, the non-negotiable is that every one of us is gonna pay. The negotiable is that every one of us has a choice as to when we pay. And so that is the principle of delayed gratification. I'm not going to gratify myself right now. I'm not gonna take advantage of this thing right now. Why? Because I'm gonna reinvest it in the future that I'm building. And you know, it's interesting because there's a gentleman and his name is Thomas Corley. And Thomas Corley spent 5 years studying the daily activities of wealthy people, and he compared them to the daily activities of people who were in poverty. Interestingly, the wealthy people that he was talking about, these were folks who were self-made. In other words, they didn't get their money through inheritance. They didn't like win a lottery. Do you know what I'm saying? They actually started with nothing, maybe like you, certainly like me, and they worked and built a whole new future for themselves. And so he looked at the daily activities of the wealthy people, and he compared them to the daily activities of the poor people. Here's what he discovered. He discovered some what he called poverty habits. The first poverty habit was watching more than an hour of TV or Netflix every day. Now think about that for a moment, right? I mean, you worked hard, you come home, you want to just sit in front of the TV and just chill out, right? Because what? You deserve it. And sure you do. But what he found is that the poor people, they would do more than an hour, right? It was more than just rest and replenishment for them. It was actually this thing called entertainment. In other words, I got to turn my brain off and I'm going to do it for more than an hour. But what he found is that the self-made wealthy would never do that. Sure, they'd sit down and watch a show for half hour, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour, but they never go more than an hour. The second one that he found was that they spent more than an hour a day, the poor, on social media surfing, okay? Now, how many of you know social media is great? I mean, you can hop on your phone and get lost in this social media internet black hole. And then you kind of pull yourself out of that a couple of hours later, and you wasted a bunch of times clicking on this video, hitting that like, commenting here, commenting there. Listen, I'm not opposed to social media. The point that what this Thomas Corley discovered is that the wealthy would never spend more than an hour a day doing that. They actually kept it in a very contained little box. The third habit of those who were poor is that they would eat more than 300 junk calories a day. So what does that mean? That means that they had no control over their personal food habits. Now, this is a real problem because if you've ever been poor, and I have been, I'll tell you what, it's hard to eat healthy when you're poor. Why? Because the crappy food is the cheapest food in the grocery store. You can get a box of Kraft Dinner for 99 cents, and oh man, I love me some KD. Tell you what, you mix some Cheese Whiz in there, a little bit of ketchup, and that is a beautiful thing. But I'll tell you what, you eat too much of that, and it's not good. So the challenge when you're poor is you got to work harder because eating healthier is more difficult. But again, we're not talking about people who were born wealthy. They had gone through that poverty stage. Listen to me, poverty is not your destination. It's not your destiny. It's a stage in your life. Imagine if you started to see the poverty that you're experiencing as just another step on your way to wealth and greatness. That's the kind of mindset that we need. Another habit that he shared was this, that they had this idea when they were poor, that procrastination was just the way all of us are, rather than actually making sure that they got done everything they needed to get done in the realm of a day. Now, at the end of the day, your life, my life, is all about delaying that gratification, building the healthy habits, getting away from the TV screen, getting away from the social media screen, getting away from the junk food, getting away from procrastination, and leaning into what? Personal development, professional goals, building your wealth, getting around people who support you, allowing yourself the opportunity to spread your wings and soar. And you deserve every part of that, but every single part of it comes back to, are you willing to delay that gratification? Are you willing to say no to that pleasure in the moment so that you can step into your highest and your best? And so, hey, I hope that this has been helpful to you. I'd love to hear your comments below. I would love, please do share this video, tell your friends about it, get the word out there, because in flourishing, our whole passion is you, helping you grow, helping you develop, helping you get to that next level. So please do go to failuretoflourishing.com. We would love for you to connect with us, and hey, we're even building our team, and we would love for you to be a part of that, because I'll tell you what, we could use good people, and you're absolutely one of them. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in our next video.